all student unions are a sick joke. But the cake for the sickest joke in this department must go to the British National Union of Students, or the NUS. After calling for the no platforming of the far-left LGBTist Peter Thatchell, a case which we covered on Freedom Alternative here, now the same NUS wants the abolition of anything related specifically to gay men because they don't face any oppression. No, seriously, these people are for real. Let's explore. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Freedom Alternative. When it comes to far-left identity politics, and particularly feminism, misandry is mandatory, just like anti-white racism or anti-Christian rhetoric. A feminist who doesn't hate men is not a proper feminist, just like a Muslim who doesn't love Allah is not a proper Muslim. You can't separate Allah from Islam, just like you can't separate man-hating from feminism. And phrases like man-hating feminist should be considered a grammatical error, specifically a pleonasm. You know, just like black darkness or burning fire. Once you get to this proper level of understanding, the actions of feminists start making quite a lot of sense. At least to the extent that irrational authoritarian bigotry can make sense, but at least they start to make sense. So, with that in mind, let's read from Pink News. NUS tells LGBT societies to abolish gay men's reps because they don't face oppression. And goes like this. The National Union of Students LGBT campaign has passed a motion calling for the abolition of representatives for gay men because they don't face oppression in the LGBT community. The NUS LGBT+ campaign discussed the issue at its annual conference, which took place in Sheffield this week. At the event, delegates passed a motion that blames cis gay men for misogyny, transphobia, racism, and biphobia. It says misogyny, transphobia, racism, and biphobia are often present in LGBT+ societies. This is unfortunately more likely to occur when the society is dominated by white cis gay men. The motion continues to call on LGBT societies at universities, many of whom have dedicated reps for lesbians, trans people, bi people, and gay men, to abolish the role for gay men. It continues, quote, "The reps system exists to ensure that societies' committees can always have a reserved place for groups which disproportionately face oppression within the LGBT+ community. Gay men do not face oppression as gay men within the LGBT+ community and do not need a reserved place on society committees." It goes on to encourage LGBT+ societies that have a gay men's rep to drop the position. The motion was passed despite other resolutions at the same conference highlighting that men who have sex with men are disproportionately at risk of HIV and disproportionately at risk of violence. The NUS has recently been drawn into a row with gay rights campaigner Peter Thatchell, who helped organize a rally outside NUS HQ last week to protest their no-platform policy. The NUS denies no platforming of Mr. Thatchell. The last phrase should read, "The NUS denies factual reality and the existence of its own words," as that would be far more appropriate and more in line with reality. But then again, it's Pink News, a rag not exactly known for its objectivity or common sense. And we'll talk more about that in the next video when we tackle left-wing sexual morality and that now essentially alienates even social liberals. Anyway, the comments at the article, almost 1,000 of them at the time of this recording, are particularly hilarious, and I encourage you to read them if you have the time and patience, for the simple reason that the comments are a very good reflection to the trends of thought of that particular community. In fact, I always encourage everyone to read the comments, especially on overtly partisan publications, because those are the ones that actually matter. But anyway, in the comments you'll see how the cultist mentality actually works. The cultist feminists are arguing there nothing more and nothing less than for the position that this is happening because of a right-wing conspiracy. I'm not joking. And, that's what your average right-on LGBTist feminist actually believes. And their evidence for that? Well, the existence of the Drop the T petition started several months ago, which calls for the removals of transsexuals from the LGBT lobby. The fact that such petition exists and that its author was interviewed by The Federalist is more than enough for the cultist feminists to absolutely be convinced that the NUS's actions are a right-wing conspiracy. I hope I don't need to argue why such line of thinking is utterly insane. I mean, it should be patently obvious that even if there had been a right-wing conspiracy within the LGBTist lobby, the feminists' own evidence proves that such a move would be concerned with trannies and not with gay men. But then again, basic logic and feminism are mutually exclusive. The reality is that feminists' hatred for gay men is not a new phenomena by any means, and it's just that it has become far more visible now when the left has begun to tiptoe around obvious issues in order to avoid appearing Islamophobic, and of course, as the overall level of actual homophobia and not imaginary Dumbler oppression goes down more and more, and as such, more and more non-straight people will find it less appealing to define themselves by the kind of people they like to fuck with. That's how it's possible to see the British NUS refusing to condemn the Islamic State, because that would be Islamophobic. The fact that they throw gay men off the roofs because they're gay is not oppressive enough, because gay cis men don't face oppression, as they eloquently explained to all of us simpletons and peasants. The fact of the matter is that it was only a matter of time until the feminist establishment will accelerate its anti-gay efforts, and I talked about this as early as 2013 in my podcasts. Again, I hate it when I'm right, but it wasn't really that hard. At the end of the day, gay men are a diverse group, and rallying just around your sexual preference is not good enough to support a political lobby on the long run. Gay men run businesses, for instance, and they're affected far more by the fact that the state takes more and more of their hard work than they're affected by the fact that someone, says faggot on TV. Also, gay men are, first of all, men, which means they can be, and indeed are, victims of false rape allegations, just like any other man, and that affects them a lot more than the fact that someone tells a butthurt joke. Gay men in Europe are also amongst the top targets of violence, particularly from the oppressed migrants, and they know it. In France, for instance, a significant chunk of gay men vote consistently for the Front National, a party not exactly favorable to gay marriage, but, gay men are not stupid. They know that the civil partnership is already more than enough to satisfy all of the demands, and they also know that it's far more important to have policies focused at protecting you from violence rather than having policies that protect your feelings while allowing the open season on immigration from backwards cultures. All of these facts are very well known amongst the feminists as well, even though they never articulated, and have been known for years. That's why it's not surprising to see them turn against gay men. When they will be done with gay men, I suspect their next target will be white women. Just wait and see. By 2020 or 2025, we'll read how white women oppress feminists through their glowing white privilege. And by that time, all of the old guard of feminism would have been dead, so there will be no one within their tent left to make any point that doesn't sound full retard. Again, the seeds of that move have already been planted right now with the discussion about white feminism, which for now is quite marginal. But then again, the hatred of gay men was also marginal in 1990 within feminism, so, just give it time. If there's a terrible idea somewhere that wants to become mainstream, that idea should be planted within the feminist field. It may take a long time, but it's bound to be picked on at some point in time. Progressives never disappoint. If they could pick on mandatory segregation, then surely nothing is too far for progressives. And with that being said, thank you for watching and supporting this channel. I'll see you soon on Freedom Alternative.